Well, hey there, everyone. It is so nice to see you today. I really appreciate you coming together with me to talk about post-discharge phone calls. We've talked about this topic a little bit on and off throughout the years, and I'm super excited to tell you that Press Ganey has something that I think that you've been looking for. So I would love to start off. Pam, if you could give me an idea. Tell me a little bit about the current discharge follow-up process at your organization today. So, is Magnolia doing discharge phone calls personally today? Ah, okay. So you have a part-time employee, right? Okay. And it takes about 25 hours per week to complete them? Okay. Do we know if they're capturing the feedback in a dashboard or an Excel spreadsheet? Ah, okay. So it's pen and paper. That's really good to know. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you for that information, Pam. We know that organizations that deliver post-discharge calls on a regular basis, they are seeing fewer readmissions and higher patient experience scores. So it is absolutely wonderful that you guys are already doing those calls. We also have studies that show that more than $52 billion is spent annually to care for patients that are coming back, so readmitted to the hospital within 30 days for a previously treated condition. And we do not want that. So that's what post-discharge calls do. They lower unnecessary readmissions by as much as 50%, and they're going to help catch issues that patients have up front and help to mitigate before somebody needs to come back to the hospital. Okay, so we know that many organizations are struggling in different ways with post-discharge phone calls. Tell me a little bit more about your employee that does these calls. Is it consistent? Okay, so it sounds like it's a little bit hit and miss. That's good to know. Okay, so that sounds like a challenge for you guys. Well, good news, post-discharge calls are really effective. They're going to help you save money as well. But if you use them on a regular basis to reach out to patients after they have had an inpatient stay at the organization, they really help to ensure things like the patient's understanding their instructions, they're making plans for follow-up care, they're getting their prescriptions filled. There's a lot of different things. And one thing that they can find out is the patient feeling worse? That's super important to know. So patients who don't adhere to instructions or they don't really understand what they're reading in the instructions, they have a much higher risk for being readmitted and having problems down the road. So I know you guys are doing these manually, takes a lot of time. It costs you guys money. We know that 1 in 4 nurses are making these calls. So they're assigned to this. And I'm sure that as your volume increases, I know it fluctuates, but you might have to add more people to do these. Okay. So organizations are really constantly looking for ways to improve the process, optimize, and automate. That's going to make it easier for both you and the patients. So that's where the Press Ganey solution comes into play. So with Press Ganey's IVR, which is interactive voice response solution, we actually streamline the process. So we are going to allow patients to conveniently access support and resources. There's 3 components. It's nurse designed. These are automated phone calls, and that allows the respondents to answer a few questions. It's really quick. They're not going to take up the nurse's time by a lengthy phone call about their family and what's going on in their life. It's going to be concise. So that's awesome. The action management portion is very intuitive. It triggers workflows to route and resolve the problems. So getting to the right people is one of the most important aspects when a patient needs additional care. You'll see, and I'll show you this in just a minute, but the program is scalable, it's cost effective, and It really is going to be able to route patients based on their answers to the survey. Okay. So no more manual time spent on this. So before we dive a little bit into the solution, let's talk about why organizations should use Press Ganey versus other options. So you guys are already deeply embedded with us. We have a wonderful relationship today. If you make this change, you'll benefit from an automated solution that takes the burden off of the nurses that are doing this, and that's going to ultimately impact burnout and help with your financial outcomes. So efficiency. I know you love that, Pam, right? Okay, great. Press Ganey's solution also is differentiated in that it's designed by clinicians. So it's designed by those experts like nurses. We're using our healthcare expertise, and then we're using solid technology. Okay, so how does it work? We're going to show you here. Patients are going to get an automated phone call. That's going to be after their discharge. So it's going to ask them to answer a few yes or no questions. Super easy for the patient. It's not confusing whatsoever. And they're very clear-cut questions and instructions. Use the button on their phone. So they'll get a phone call, they'll use the button on their phone, and they will answer the survey questions. Very easy. This should be no problem for them. We even have 15 languages that are supported, with English and Spanish, of course, is the standard. Okay, so that is great. So depending on their answers, the patient is going to receive follow-up. So follow-up questions or action. So if a patient's having a negative experience, or for example, like in this example that you're seeing here, they're indicating that they feel worse. That's not good. The survey will route them and give them the next steps on what's going to happen. It'll send over a high priority to the right people. Okay, so that's good. What do you think about that? Perfect. Thank you for your feedback. Yes, thank you. Okay, so we see here that the most powerful feature of our solution is really the ability to get the patient's case and information to the right people. So that's action management. So we're setting up workflows. We're allowing the individuals to get smartly routed to the right professionals in your organization. And we'll set up as many people as you need to be a user within the system. So it might be routed to a nurse, a pharmacist, their doctor. The assigned team member is alerted when they have a case and when cases are closed. So super easy. Users can click from the email into the alert platform, and they can learn about their case and they can take action. Okay, now since the solution is built on our HX platform, you can use these post-discharge calls to close both inner and outer loop challenges. So what do we mean by that? We're making the processes better. So inner loop resolution, users can follow their individual cases. They can review the status of the case and when the case was opened, the actions that were taken and actually what happened in every level of the case, and then when the case is closed. So then you can reprioritize and reassign as needed. So super easy for the users to use. As you can see, this is just listing out the cases that are open, that are in progress, that are closed, severity in each situation. So you'll see a full summary of the cases. And so beyond the actual action management summary, we also offer an insight dashboard. So I know that with the individuals that are doing that today, you're not using a dashboard. So I think that you will find this very intuitive. So this is a summary of all the metrics in an organization that you would be able to see if you are just looking at the high-level overview of what's going on and understanding the post-discharge program. So using this dashboard here, leaders can examine patterns and trends and create plans to improve them. So of course, we're targeting the outer loop resolutions. We're allowing those users to identify the top issues. So here, as you can see, top issue is health concerns. Second top, care instructions. So maybe they don't understand what they need to do with their sutures, or maybe they don't understand um, how to use the restroom, whatever it may be. That's going to be identified here in this top issues chart. Within care instructions. But this insight also is going to allow you to recognize staff who are doing a good job at discharge. So it's easy, straightforward, um, very intuitive. But you know what I appreciate is it's absolutely fast. So we can blast out those phone calls, and you don't have Judy spending 25 hours a week. That's 25 hours that you can give back to Judy or any nurse that might be doing these calls and get them back to what really matters. And it's that in person care that really helps your organization to automate and optimize, which I know you've been working on. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have, or we can kick it off and get you guys a contract. What do you think? Perfect. Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your time today. I'll be in touch. Thanks.